Hey, what's up? How you guys doing, man? I'm gonna try to get through this segment, do this pretty video as briefly as I can, briefly as possible, because I've been having technical difficulties as of late. I don't know what the. It's not like I have any janky ass equipment. I just believe that my stuff, a lot of my things have been flagged. A lot of my videos have been flagged. And I think somebody could be yeah, interfering with my videos, with the recordings or whatnot, or videos are not permitted. Some videos are taken, or tell me I have to take certain videos down. I've been blocked from assessing certain social media social media platforms due to my opinions. And I've been told I'm not opinions are not politically correct, but it is what it is. But today is excuse me, February 11th, 2019. I want to talk about, discuss in brief detail two, two historical figures. One is uh, that's one of his biggest songs, one of the biggest songs he's ever composed or sang. And unfortunately, it was his last song. He died there soon after he recorded that song. Um, but anyway, yeah, I want to discuss Sam Cooke, or Samuel L. Cooke, or Samuel Cooke, but we better known as just Sam Cooke, and Assata Shakur, uh, aka Joanne Chesimard, or the name the last name Chesimard is the name she took once she got married. Her birth name is Joanne Deborah Byron. First, I'm gonna start out with Sam Cooke. As you know, he was the inspiration. He inspired many artists that came after him, like the James Browns, the Aretha Franklins, the uh, Curtis Mayfield, many more. Marvin Gaye. He inspired a lot of those artists. Uh, Sam Cooke was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi, USA, on January 20th or 22nd, 1931, and he died December 11th, 1964, in Los Angeles under suspicious circumstances. His death was surrounded by a lot of suspicion. Um, and Sam Cooke was dubbed the King of Soul. He was really dubbed the King of Soul before James Brown was dubbed the King or the Godfather of Soul. Uh, Sam Cooke was a singer, a songwriter, and he was also an entrepreneur. Uh, and he was a vocalist. He played the piano as well as the guitar. uh, and like I said, his most famous song was "A Change Is Gonna Come." A change is gonna come. I love that song so much. And then he had another song called what is that? It's called Bring It On Home to Me," or "Bring It On to Me." That's on the Ali soundtrack. Bring your loving on to me. It's like he said, "I don't care who you were with, just bring it on home to me." So I love that soundtrack. I really love that movie Ali, uh, that Will Smith starred in. He starred as Ali himself, Will Smith. But yeah, Sam Cooke was a very soulful, and he started singing at a very young age when he was just a child, in church, and he was with this group, and he used to sing spirituals before he really crossed over. and started singing, what they call secular music. He started singing as a child and singing the spirituals and all that. He was in church, in a church choir. Uh, and then he joined this group called the Soul Stirrers. They were a spiritual group, they sang spirituals. And then, like I said, before he crossed over, that's before he crossed over, it's years before he crossed over. And even if you listen to some of the lyrics in his secular, he combined a lot of the spiritual aspects of the spiritual music. He combined it with the secular music as well. You could hear it, a little bit of the spiritual uh, uh, undertones or whatnot within some of the so-called secular music. Uh, I learned something about. Well, I've already, I knew he had I was aware that he had connections with Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and with Jim Brown. And also, if you watch the movie, the Ali movie starring Will Smith, you will see that there's a guy that portrays or played the character of Sam Cooke, and a guy who portrays the character of not Jim Jones, Jim Brown. And there's a scene where right after Ali defeated Sonny Liston down in Miami, uh, there was a scene where they were inside of a hotel. I guess it was in Malcolm's and Betty Shabazz's hotel. But anyway, there was a scene where uh, Muhammad Ali, portrayed by Will Smith, was holding one of Malcolm X's daughters. He was sitting on the floor, and Malcolm X's daughter, one of his daughters, was sitting on Ali's lap while they were watching this movie, The Mummy. The Mummy movie, and the brother that was portrayed or had portrayed Sam Cooke was standing in the doorway in the kitchen, the doorway of the kitchen in the living room, and and Ali was talking to him and stuff like that a little bit. And then there was the guy. Well, not really specifically talking to him. He was talking to Malcolm X's daughter while she was sitting on his lap and they were watching a Mummy movie. But Jim Brown, not Jim Brown, the guy that was portraying Sam Cooke was standing in a doorway, watching and listening and laughing at what Ali was saying about the Mummy movie. And this character that was playing Jim Brown walked in, and he and Ali shook hands, and Ali was like, "You're next, man. You're next, Jim Brown. You're next. It's gonna be the biggest fight of all time, Jim Brown versus Ali." And everybody started laughing. The guy who portrayed Malcolm X, which was his name, Van Peebles, Mario Van Peebles, he portrayed Malcolm, and he laughed when Ali made that statement. And the guy that portrayed Sam Cooke laughed, and the guy who portrayed Jim Brown laughed, and it was a beautiful scene, man. So Sam Cooke, he was friends. He befriended Malcolm. He befriended Jim Brown and Ali, and then I learned recently that from reading this book called the what is this book called? It's called the Judas Factor, the plot to assassinate Malcolm X. I learned in a book that not Jim Brown, Sam Cooke he was trying to help Ali launch his singing career. Interesting, but yeah. So Jim Brown, I mean not Jim Brown. I'm thinking about Jim Brown. Sam Cooke was born, like I say, January 22nd, 1931. He died December 11th, 1964, in Los Angeles. Uh, and like I said, there's a lot of suspense surrounding his death. And the woman who killed him, or who was accused of killing Sam Cooke, her name is or was Bertha Franklin. And I thought, yeah, she died. I heard she died too, not too long after that. Or maybe I'm getting my stories a little mixed up or crossed over. But anyway, she was the manager at the Hacienda. Okay, I think I'm saying it right. The Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles. And I watched this documentary, I'd say about, I don't know, maybe like month, maybe not even, about 3, 4 weeks ago on YouTube, the Sam Cooke documentary. And the lady, they showed the actual woman, Miss Bertha Franklin. And she stated that allegedly, Sam Cooke allegedly got violent with her, and she had no choice but shoot him in the chest. She shot him in the chest 3 times. And what they're trying to say is that he picked up a prostitute, and he woke up, I guess, and he realized his wallet was missing, and he ran out. This is the story. Surrounding, or basically, they've said what brought about his death, that he went looking for the woman who allegedly stole his wallet, the prostitute who stole his wallet, and he confronted, I guess, the Miss Bertha Franklin, like I said, she was the manager, and he confronted her and asked, "Where's the woman? Where's this lady that checked in with him?" And I guess the story goes, the lady, Mrs. Bertha Franklin, she was not she wasn't cooperating with him. I guess she wanted him to leave, and the story goes he got very upset and he got physical with her. So that therefore that's why she shot him in the chest 3 times and killed him. But many folks that were close to Sam Cooke stated that he was not a violent man. He was a very loving man, a very peaceful man, and he wouldn't treat women that way. People just loved being around the guy. He was killed because Sam Cooke was a he would go against the grain. And many people close to him say that he was the type of guy that, yeah, he would go against the grain. He was a contrarian, and he was not the type of person that would just bow down and just follow the white rule. He never wanted to. And like whenever he would visit a restaurant, he was the type of person, I'm not gonna enter through the back door to pick up my food. If I'm a paying customer, I should be able to come through the front door. So he pretty much ruffled many feathers. Uh, and what they were saying, his friends and family, is that he basically wanted to control his own music. He wanted to start his own publishing company, on his own. I think they said he did gain access to his catalog, and he was starting his own label and everything. So he was an entrepreneur as well. He was a songwriter, he was a singer, and an entrepreneur. So he really was wanted to own his own thing. That was his biggest goal. His number one goal was to own his own music, own everything, his right, publishing rights to all this stuff, and and he was in a process of basically taking over everything, just controlling all of his music. And I also heard that he was about to fire uh, one of his handlers, one of his white managers, because the guy did something. The contract wasn't right. Uh, Sam Cooke really studied the contract, and he really looked at it and studied it in depth, and he realized that there was some clause that was not, it didn't sit right with him. It did not sit right with him. So his goal was to go and confront the guy and fire the guy. I guess he spoke with the guy over the situation with the guy over the phone, and they were supposed to meet eventually. But somehow, like I said, he dies in this motel in L.A. And then they say at the time that was a really rough area, really rough area where he died. And people are like, they don't believe people get caught up in that type of area, in that segment, of L.A. with a prostitute. Somebody he just met that night at a. They said they met this lady at some club, and they went to some shanty or rundown segment of LA and motel. So there's a lot of suspicion, and a lot of people believe, people that were close to him believe that he was killed because he was ruffling too many feathers. He was just a nigger that would just he didn't know his place. He was just one of those uppity niggers, and so he wanted control, creative control of his stuff. And so it is what it is. The brother is no longer here. So it's Black History Month. So that's why I'm talking about Sam Cooke. And now I'm going to move on down to, excuse me, to Assata Shakur. It's already covered, yeah. Sam Cooke, Clarksdale, Mississippi, died in L.A., born January 22nd, 1931, died December 11, 1964. Okay, I already covered that. And now Assata Shakur, aka Joanne Chesimard. Her birth name, Joanne Deborah Byron. Uh, as you know, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her story or her life, but she is currently residing in Cuba. She was given political asylum by the Cuban government by Fidel Castro uh, back in '79. Uh, Now, Joanne Chesimard or Assata Shakur, she was a former member of the BLM or the Black Liberation Army, and she also had some ties. And the BLM had ties to the Black Panther Party as well. But the reason why she is currently residing in Cuba is because she was falsely, and I believe she was falsely accused of murdering a New Jersey state trooper. And this happened back in '73. There was a shootout on a New Jersey turnpike, and a New Jersey state trooper was killed. I'm trying to remember the man's name. What was his name?